in the world is happening with Seattle real estate? Let's look. This is your June 21 update. Let's check it out. So if you've been following, I'm always showing you the supply and demand graphs for the areas, and mostly because supply and demand is not just a good idea. It's the law, and it drives everything. And the crazy run up in prices has got to be a function of some relationship of supply and demand, undersupply, over demand, some combination of that. And it has to be, because that's the way pricing works. And when you look historically, you can see just that. Okay. You can see that in 2020, during the pandemic, there were far fewer homes available. Look at the green. The green are the available homes, the inventory, the supply. The blue is the demand. Okay, the blue is the sales for those given months. And you can see that in 2016, 17, 18, there was way more green in the summer, those are summer months, than there was in 2020. 2020 had almost no actual inventory. So the supply has been used up by the demand. There was a huge drop in demand at the end of last year. Look, there's no green here. There's no extra supply from October of last year through March of this year. So that's what you would call pent up demand. Everything that comes to the market is getting sucked out of the market. 25 offers, over asking price, hundreds of thousands of dollars over asking price, bidding wars. That's that environment that you can see right there. So what does the future hold? Well, the best anyone can ever do about forecasting the future is to look at the past. No one has a crystal ball. No one has a crystal ball. All the doomsayers, the market's going to pop, all the people that say it's going to keep going up forever, none of those people know anything about the future. It's not possible to know anything about the future. So we can look at the past to get some indications as to what's likely. That's as good as we can get. So let's look. Here's some really interesting things about that, I think. So May of this year, we got to 3,300 units, okay, of new listings coming to market, which is interestingly on track for what I thought would happen given the recent history. Watch, here's what I mean. So that 3,300 compares to last year's May, which came in all the way down here at 2,800. So about 10, 12, 15% more inventory, 20 to 2021. So May was, 2,700. So about 600 more units. Now, what's interesting is May in 2019 was 4,200 units, and May in 2018 was about the same. So about a 20% less inventory than 2018 or 2019, but the same amount as 2016 or 2017. So you're seeing something of a normalization. 2018 and 2019 were additional inventory we hadn't seen in 2016 or 2017. And watch what happens to the price graph. 2018 and 2019, it flattened out. Why? Because there was all that extra inventory was added to the market in 2018 and 2019 and you can see demand is fairly steady. I mean, 2020 had an explosion of demand, and 2021 has an increase in demand as well. Interest rates, that's a function of stimulus and interest rates. 2018 and 2019 had this additional inventory and a decrease in demand, where 2016 and 2017 was pretty similar, right? Pretty similar to each other. So what are we looking at for 2021? Well, it looks like we're on track for a more normal kind of inventory over the summer. That is maybe not 2018, 2019 levels, but certainly 2016, 2017 levels, where you can get up to, 3,100, 3,300, maybe close to 4,000 units would be great, right? If you could get that, that would ease the sort of frenzy. What's going to happen with interest rates is a really interesting thing. What's going to happen with demand, because demand here is really as high as we've seen it. That's 3,300 units in May, We don't get to 3,300 units at all in 2020. We don't get to 3,300 units anywhere in the last 5 years. So you've got, you need an enormous increase in inventory to satiate that kind of a demand. Let's see if that eases. If interest rates start go up, that could ease the demand. Lots of different things could ease. Buyers could get buyer fatigue, decide it's not worth the hassle and not need to buy. But right now you've got a relative increase in inventory compared to 2020, which will ease the situation. What's going to happen with the demand? That's a really interesting thing to watch. We don't really have any read on that yet, but we do know demand is higher than it's ever been. So chances are we're not moving into a seller's market anytime soon. I certainly don't see any indication here of anything like a bubble popping. There's inventory is increasing slowly. Demand is increasing quickly. If the demand goes away, maybe the market evens out. Maybe we turn into this kind of a pause, right? Somewhere in there, a breather. That would make sense, but I don't see any indication of something popping. This is supply and demand driven. If you have questions about your situation, what you want to do, buy or sell, let me know. That's what I'm here for. All right. Aaron Hendon with Christine and Company over at eXp Realty. Talk to you soon.